The Miracle of the Forest Guardian. Main character, Seu Salvador. Deep in a forgotten corner of the world, where the forest breathes like a living creature and the wind whispers old secrets, lived a humble man known only as Seu Salvador. He never sought glory, never asked for gratitude. But the forest trusted him. And on a night when danger crept quietly between the trees, a woman would discover that miracles sometimes walk on 2 feet. This is the story of the miracle performed by the guardian of the forest. Chapter 1. The Quiet Life of a Humble Man. Seu Salvador lived alone in a wooden cabin built from patience and time. Moss covered the stones around it. Vines curled across the porch. Birds gathered every morning as if greeting their closest friend. To the villagers, he was simply an old man who smiled too kindly and spoke too softly. But the truth was far deeper. Inside him lived an ancient gift. Whenever someone was in danger, whenever fear gripped a heart, the world trembled, just slightly. And Salvador felt it like a spark against his own. He had used this gift many times throughout his life, but no one truly knew. He preferred quiet. He preferred peace. But fate had other plans. One late afternoon, as the sun painted the trees gold, Salvador felt the first warning. A chill. A tightening in the chest. A whisper. Help! A woman was in danger. Very close. Chapter 2. The First Cry in the Trees. The forest was unusually still. No birds. No rustling leaves. The air was heavy with tension, like a breath held too long. Salvador paused, closing his eyes. The whisper returned, stronger this time. Please, someone, help me. He opened his eyes and began walking toward the sound his heart could hear but his ears could not. The pull guided him through narrow paths and uneven roots. His old boots pressed softly against wet soil. The sky darkened as trees grew denser, forming a canopy above him. A branch snapped ahead. Then another. And then a scream. A woman's voice. Filled with panic. He broke into a run. Chapter 3. The Woman by the Ravine. Her name was Elena, though Salvador did not know it yet. She had ventured into the forest searching for rare herbs for her sick mother. She walked too far. The soil near the ravine was loose from recent rain. One wrong step sent her tumbling. When Salvador arrived, he found her clinging desperately to a jutting root, her legs dangling over a deep fall. Her fingers were slipping. Her voice trembling. Please. I don't want to die. Salvador knelt at the edge, stretching his arm toward her. Give me your hand, he said softly. Trust me. She looked up, saw an old man, weathered but steady, and obeyed. The moment their hands touched, Salvador felt her fear, her heartbeat, her fading strength. With a deep breath, he pulled. But the ground beneath him crumbled. The root snapped, and both of them fell. Chapter 4. Between Roots and Shadows, 15 to 20 hours. The fall was violent but short. The ravine wasn't deep enough to kill them, but the landing was brutal. Salvador hit the ground first, shielding Elena with his body. His ribs screamed in pain. His breath caught. But she was alive. Are you hurt? He asked. No, maybe bruised. But you, she touched his shoulder. You're injured. Salvador forced a weak smile. I've survived worse. But he knew something was wrong. His chest burned. His vision swayed. Worse, the ravine was shaped like a bowl. Steep and muddy, impossible to climb. And behind them, in the shadows, came the low growl of something large. A jaguar. Elena gasped, clutching his arm. Salvador stepped in front of her. Stay behind me, he whispered. His heart trembled with the warning of life in peril. Hers. The jaguar stepped closer, golden eyes fixed on them. Salvador knew they had only seconds. Chapter 5. The Light Within, 20:00, 25:00. Fear surged through Elena. Salvador felt it like a knife across his chest. The jaguar crouched, muscles tensed, ready to strike. Salvador raised his hands, not in attack, but in calm. A strange warmth spread through his palms, glowing faintly beneath the skin. The gift! He never used it unless there was no other choice. But now, Elena's life depended on it. He closed his eyes and whispered words he didn't remember learning. The air shimmered. The forest hushed, and a soft blue glow radiated from his hands. The jaguar froze, mesmerized, then backed away slowly, tail low, eyes wide with caution. It turned, slipping into the darkness. Elena stared at Salvador, breathless. What was that? Salvador's glow faded. He fell to one knee, exhausted. Just a little light, he murmured. But it takes much from me. She knelt beside him, steadying him. You saved me twice. He smiled faintly. And we are not done yet. They still needed to climb out. But Salvador had little strength left. Chapter 6. Hope in the Darkness, 25:00, 30:00. Night began to fall. Cold crept in. The ravine filled with fog. Elena leaned against Salvador, trying to keep him warm. He shivered but refused to rest. You must go, he whispered. Leave me here. You can climb. No, she said firmly. I won't leave you. You saved my life. I'm staying until we both leave. Her determination warmed him more than fire could. Eventually, she found a narrow path formed by tangled roots. Not easy, but possible. Elena, Salvador whispered, voice weak. You must lead the way. She nodded, helping him stand. They climbed slowly, her pulling, him pushing with what little strength he had. Halfway up, his foot slipped. She grabbed him desperately. I've got you, she cried. Their hands locked. Their breath shook. Together, inch by inch, they made it to the forest floor. Salvador collapsed against a tree, chest heaving. You're incredible, Elena whispered. Salvador chuckled softly. I get that a lot from people I rescue. Chapter 7. The Forest Brings Them Home, 30:00, 35:00. The walk back to his cabin was slow. Salvador leaned heavily on her shoulder, each step scraping pain across his ribs. But the forest seemed to guide them. Moonlight breaking through leaves. Fireflies lighting the path ahead. At last, they reached his small cabin. Elena helped him inside, laying him gently on his bed. She cleaned his wounds, wrapped his ribs carefully. Her hands trembled, but she worked with care. Salvador watched her silently. You're kind, he said. You saved my life, she replied. Kindness is the least I can give. When he finally fell asleep, she stayed by his side. Grateful. Awed. Changed. Chapter 8. The Morning Revelation, 35:00, 38:00. Sunlight spilled into the cabin. Salvador awoke slowly, pain softened but still present. Elena sat nearby, watching the birds on his windowsill. You're awake, she said, smiling. How do you feel? Like I wrestled a river and a jaguar in the same day. She laughed, soft, relieved. Then her expression turned serious. Salvador, what you did yesterday, the light, the way you knew I was in danger. She paused. What are you? He looked outside, toward the forest. I am simply a man who listens, he said. When the world trembles, I feel it. When a life is in danger, I see it. She touched his hand gently. "You're a guardian." He shook his head. "No. The forest protects me. I only return the favor." Chapter 9. The Promise of Silence, 38:00, 39:00. Elena leaned closer. "Should I tell the village what you did for me?" Salvador smiled tiredly. "No. The more people know, the more they will expect. And I cannot save everyone. My gift takes from me as much as it gives." She nodded, understanding. "Your secret is safe with me." He closed his eyes gratefully. "Thank you." Chapter 10. The Miracle Lives On, 39:00, 40:00. Before leaving, Elena stood at his door. "I will come back tomorrow," she promised, "to bring food, to help you heal." Salvador nodded softly. "Be careful, Elena. The forest may call again." She smiled. "If it does, I know who will answer." As she walked away, Salvador felt the forest settle. Calm, peaceful, grateful. Another life saved. Another miracle whispered through the trees. And in his humble cabin, Salvador closed his eyes, ready to rest, because someday soon another whisper would reach him, and he would rise again, the guardian of the forest.